In this video, we're going to look at the values filter. That's one of the filters which AdapTable offers, and we've had quite a few requests about different properties and ways of configuring it, so we'll look at them through this video. A little bit of background: AdapTable provides lots of different filters, as you can see. So for string columns we get all those, for date columns we get a huge amount, and for number columns we also get a lot. And in fact, as you can also see, as in this case here, for string columns, or for all columns, you can also provide custom filters, custom predicates, which you provide at design time, and then they kind of use your business logic. But in this demo, we're going to look at the values filter. That's one of the filters we provide, and it's really a special filter because what it does, as you can see, is AdapTable will dynamically provide a list of all the distinct values in that column, and then the user, each time they click one, will be able to see the values they want. And then if you wanted to, you can kind of run it on as many columns as you require. So that's the value. That's the values filter. And as I say, we've had a number of different requests around it. So we're going to show some of the properties you can do. And in fact, we're actually going to run a little bit of code. This is just completely dummy data. Don't worry about the data itself. And we're going to look at some of the options you can do. So the first thing people like to do is they say, well, this values filter is so useful. I want it to be the default. I want to have it immediately. I don't want to have to pick it. So how do you do that? Well, essentially, in filter options, which is part of AdapTable options, you can choose the default filter, in fact, for dates, numbers and strings. So we want the default string column filter. And when you do that, you get a list of all the string filters available, and we want values. And now simply by doing that, when the grid reloads, you can now see that it's now the default for my string columns. Now, by default, next thing people ask is, well, we can see we've got Australia, Belgium and Brazil, but we don't know how many there are. Is there a way of showing a count of the distinct values? And there is, and that's another property which is in filter options. And this is called show values count. And it takes a column, so it takes a AdapTable column, and it returns a Boolean. So if I wanted to show it for all of them, I can just simply return true, and then I will get that values count. Or I can provide a condition, which is what we're going to do in this case. So we will say we want to see it if, say, the column ID is equal to country. So that's my values count. I'm saying show it me where the column ID is country. And now when I run my dummy data, when I go into the values count, you can now see it's giving me a count of each one. Another interesting request is if we say look at this country column, we can see here that we have EUR, GBP, USD, both lowercase and uppercase, and that's because they're picking the distinct values, and some are lowercase and some are uppercase. And what that means is if I say do GBP, I only see the GBP uppercase, and if I do GBP lowercase and take that one off, I only see the GBP lowercase. So what can we do to essentially ignore case sensitivity? Well, you can, and that's actually done through AdapTable QL options. And it's this property here, case sensitive text comparisons. The default is false. So if we set that to true, now, when I rerun this dummy data, if I go into my values filter, you can see that we only get one GBP and one EUR, but when I click that GBP, I get both the lower and upper cases together. Another request we sometimes get is let's have a look at this one here, this column last updated, which has times. So if I go into the values filter for this one, you can see that there's lots, for instance, for Thursday, the 27th of July. But when I pick any of them, I get all of them, because essentially by default we ignore time. So even though I picked one of them, I actually see all of the values for the 27th of July, irrespective of time. And that's actually what most people want, because most people like to filter on a day. But if you do want to filter on time, again, you can do that. So let's clear the filters. And the way you do that is through a property called filter using time. And then if we now set that to true, when that reloads, now when I go into my values filter, I still see lots for the 27th of July, but now when I select one, I'm only selecting just that one based on time itself. And then the last thing we're going to look at is showing distinct filter values. So let's think of a good example for that. So let's imagine, for instance, I use my values filter on counterparty and I do Canada. So now I've only got Belgium, UK, China, France, Denmark in here. So I've only got a few countries here. But when I go into the values filter, I see all the values. So I'm essentially getting all the distinct values in the grid and not the distinct values currently visible, currently available. So again, how can we fix that? And the way you will do it is through another property in filter options called show distinct filtered values only, which, as the name implies, only shows me filtered values. The default is false, so I'm going to set that to true. And now by setting that to true, when I reload my grid, now let's do the same thing again. Let's go into here, let's go into values, let's just say do BAML. And now when I go into my here, I'm only now seeing Canada, China, Ireland, Luxembourg and the United States. So I hope that was useful. I hope you got some value out of seeing what we offer in the values filter. If you'd like to learn more, please get in touch. We'll be delighted to give you a personalised demo or offer you our free, no obligation trial license. Thank you for watching.